Christy.
And I'm Dave.
And today we were thinking, have you just saved way too many homes on Pinterest and have this perfect picture in your head and want to make it a reality? Today we thought we'd go over common questions about building a home.
Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of questions about building a home, and I don't blame them because there are a lot of different variables when building a home. So
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the most common things we get asked.
Okay, well, first of all, let's just cover the basics. What are the benefits of building new versus buying pre-existing? What would you say?
I would probably go with new construction. You get to choose what you want depending on we'll go into that in a second, but you get to choose what you want. You also get to walk through the home usually and see if they messed up on anything, ask them to repair it. That's always really nice because when you're buying an existing home, you're going to have to negotiate with them on every little thing. But new construction, they want to give you the home in great condition, so that's good.
Yeah, and it's true. And in my opinion, I just feel like generally when people want to go new construction is they just want it brand new. They don't want to know that another person's lived there. They want it to be their own. Yeah. And so I think that that's the biggest factor of why most people do go new construction is because they get everything new.
Yeah.
And for the first year, typically you usually get a builder's warranty and things like that.
So how long do you think it takes to build?
Well, I would say it definitely varies depending on the types of building that you do, and we'll go over that in a little bit.
What are the types? Let's just go into that right now, right?
Okay, yeah. So first you can go with just your typical spec builder. So the home most likely is already built or far along in its phases.
Yeah, you could usually close within a month.
Yeah, month, maybe like 2 or 3 months max, depending on it. You don't really get to choose a lot of options on those ones.
Not usually.
You know, cabinets have been ordered, paint, things like that. It's very minimal usually if you get to make any decisions actually. And then another one would be your spec builders, which typically you see and hear a lot about in your neighborhood because those ones are kind of like the massive builders that don't necessarily build the same exact floor plan, but they have maybe they have like 5 to 10 floor plans to choose from. And then you get to pick some minimal choices such as like colors, cosmetic things.
Right.
And those ones, depending on, how big they are, how big the community is, I would typically say here in Utah, 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Really.
And then you got custom builders, which some will do both spec homes and custom build, but they'll allow you to change things structurally in the home, change the layout a little bit, maybe choose everything, all the stuff inside the home, the tile, maybe put in some shiplap. There's things like that.
Yeah.
Or you can build your own home, and that's an option too. And you can hire out your own contractor and help and just choose everything from the design to the carpet.
Yeah, really. So because of that, I feel like it really depends on how custom you're getting. How big is the house? What are you going to do with the landscape? Things like that. Because I would definitely say you're looking at least a year plus, depending on how elaborate your choices are.
And which takes us to the next one. How do people finance this? Do you have to have a lot of money down to buy a home, to buy new construction, or?
Yeah.
It just depends on which type of new construction you do, right?
Yeah. So that's a really big question too, because say that we go back to you just go to a builder, you approach them, say, hey, I want to choose a plan and I want this to be my house. Let's move forward with it. Oftentimes you just
I want to do that. I'd probably come talk to us first.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So say that you come to Christy and Dave, say, look, I want to build this home.
And then we go talk to the builder with you and make sure that everything is A-okay. I think that's great.
Yeah, they've already predetermined the financing for you and kind of put it in their name. So you just go under contract with them. Yeah. And at the very end, when you are close to finishing the home, that's when the lender will close on your loan. So you don't have to accrue any payments or anything like that until the end.
Yeah.
So that's probably the easiest and most simple financing. As for that, if you were to go with that loan type, the upfront cost would be your initial deposit. Every builder's different. I've seen them range between, 1 to 10% down payment or construction deposit. But then after that, you usually have a construction design meeting, and that's where more deposit is usually like, you have to give more of a deposit because they'll say, what upgrades do you want? And if you're going to be doing like 100,000 in upgrades, they're going to want a percentage of another deposit based on those upgrades.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to be like, hey, you just did $50,000 in upgrades, you're going to have to do another 15 grand down.
Yeah.
So depending on how much upgrades you do, you could end up bringing in another $50,000. We just are building a new home right now, and our construction deposit was $50,000.
Yeah. Well, the initial one, just to get it under contract, was $7,000.
Yeah.
But then after our upgrades,
we did another 50.
Yeah.
So your construction deposit is usually non-refundable. As long as they complete the project and get it done. So, and that's that one type of financing. That's when you're putting down the down payment. And then at the end, when they're done, that's when you're going to get your loan on it. The other option is if you find a lot and you're like, oh, I really love this lot. And we're like, great, let's help you buy it. We buy the lot. And then you can get in touch with a lender and actually do financing for the new construction. Or if you find a lot and you're like, okay, I don't have enough to buy the lot and build, why don't you can buy the lot with a new construction loan and already have your plans put together and get the loan for the new construction and the lot all in one thing and buy the lot that way. That's a really good possibility as well. So there's a lot of options with financing. Obviously, we are not lenders, but just so you know, come talk to us. We'll get you in touch with the lender and make sure that stuff goes well.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing, because I feel like this is a question that I run into often, is say that I decide I don't want to go with a builder that's, massively producing houses in the area, and I want to go brand new, and I buy land and I get a new construction loan. I have a lot of clients ask me, do my payments start right then?
So it always depends on which loan you do. So some loans will do interest-only payments during the construction. Some loans will just accrue it during it. But usually it just depends. So if sometimes you'll have a principal and interest payment, but yes, if you're getting a loan for a certain amount, your payments do start. But for example, we just bought a property up in Bear Lake to build a home up there, and we bought the property cash, so we don't have a payment on the lot because it was cash, right? But we got a construction loan for the construction, and that loan had interest-only payments, but had interest-only payments on what we had taken out to start building. So literally today I sent in for a draw because we've spent $35,000. So I'll get that money from him, and then I'll have to make interest-only payments on that $35,000 moving forward, right? So that's just dependent on which company you work with and how it works. But the key is, yes, you can do financing. I know you guys are just sitting on the edge of your seat on excitement about that. So let's get back to the more exciting stuff. We talked about the earnest money, some upfront costs. We talked about the different types of builders. Are there any other things that you feel like most people ask?
Besides that, which maybe we should do like an entirely new video on it, is timelines. Like, what's the process of building? What are we looking at from start to finish, and timelines, which...
I would say right now, generally, most new construction, this year of 2021, most builders are 8, 9 to over a year out. We've even had some builders that have been promising to build, and then they couldn't build within over a year, and so they had to cancel contracts. So there's a lot of things going on right now with new construction. I think it's really ideal to have a conversation with us so that we can go over those possibilities with you so that you don't get in a bad situation.